30 Days with Nana, Week 1 lesson, macros and tracking. So today I'm going over with the ladies about what macros are and how to track them. The macros are made up of 3 groups, the carbs, the fats, and the protein. And based on what you're trying to do, whether it's maintenance, a low carb diet, keto diet, calorie deficit, so many other types of diets out there, you're going to divide your fats, your proteins, and your carbs into these percentages based on those needs. When it comes to plating, I am letting the girls know that something I like to start with is make sure that you have a palm size of protein on your plates. You want to incorporate veggies and fruits. Other sides can come into play, but these 3 groups is what I want you to focus on, making sure they're at every meal, because these are going to contribute to these 3 groups in the healthiest way. And I'll explain. When it comes to the fats, fried foods, margarine, pie, pizza crust, chips, ice cream, and cookies come from the trans fats. The trans fats are a group we want to keep to at 5% to no percent. It's good to have every once in a while and throw curveballs at our body so that we keep the body guessing. But it's not something we want to overindulge in. It's not something we want to have as a high percentage of our fats. Our saturated fats can come at about 10 to 15% of our fats in a day. They come from cheese, chicken skin, milk, butter, bacon, sausage, cakes. These are a little bit more on touching the cholesterol side as well as the trans fats. But the healthier fats are fats that come from unsaturated fats. You got your almonds, peanuts, olive oil, sunflower oil, peanut butter, avocados, walnuts, sunflower seeds, salmon, tuna, basically any foods that are rich in omega. These are those unsaturated fats you want to focus on first, and then incorporate saturated fats, and then touch a little bit here if you want to incorporate some trans fats. But if you're on a weight loss journey, that's something you might want to stay away from or keep to a minimum. Now, when it comes to carbs, everyone always thinks that carbs is the evil of all the 3 groups, but it's not. And it can be very, very beneficial to you if it is used correctly. When we think of carbs, we always go to the thoughts of Cokes, chips, pasta, cookies, white flour, white bread, pastries. And boy, these are sugar craving carbs. They call our name. We see them, we want them, we crave them. But did you know that the fruits and veggies also have high carbs? They're not bad for you. Nobody has ever told you, don't eat those fruits and veggies. No, those fruits and veggies are beneficial. They have good fiber, they have good nutrients, they have good sources that help out your heart, your cholesterol, and contribute to your overall day. So eat your fruits and veggies. They've got carbs. It's okay. Now, you can still enjoy these types of carbs up here that I listed, you know, Cokes, chips, pasta, cookies, white flour. You just want to change the type, maybe. Take a look at your whole grains. You got whole wheat pasta, whole wheat bread, oatmeal cookies, oatmeal bowls. You can make your own pastries using almond flour, which is an unsaturated fat. So you have ways of still enjoying the carbs without restriction. Work around it, make your moderation, make your modification. You're going to be just fine. Now, protein. Protein is simple. Always forget about. They're so focused on the fats and the carbs. And of course, look at that. They got the whole board and the protein's just down there. But the protein is so important. And why? Because too little protein has its faults. Too much protein has its faults, and they're listed right up here. What happens if you have too little? What happens if you have too much? But the protein sources, if you're looking for any, we want to start with first our meats, our yogurts, our eggs, our fish, and then maybe dive into a little bit of help with supplements or shakes. These things will help us connect the other 3 groups, have a balance of your 65, 20, 15 if you're on a low carb diet, or if you're on the maintenance diet and you're just doing a balance of 30, 30, 30. This is macros explained as best I can. Now, The total carbs minus the fiber up here is what your net carb will always come out to be. Sure, sugar, alcohols can get involved, but that's a little bit more complicated. If you want to be strict, just only deduct the fiber for the net carbs. You're good with that and you'll be fine. Nutrition labels was probably the hardest thing I learned during my weight loss progress because I didn't know what I was looking at when I started my weight loss journey. But let me tell you, some key factors to take a look at. The first thing is serving size. That serving size is what this nutrition fact is talking about. It revolves all around the serving size. These numbers that are listed on the total fats, the cholesterol, the sodium, the carbs, the protein, all of those numbers will change when your serving size changes with it. If you decide to have 1 tablespoon instead of the 2 that it comes with, that's half of the macros that is calculated on here. So most of the tracking apps will do this for you when you say you're only having a tablespoon of the serving size instead of a cup of the serving size. It'll change for you. But if it doesn't, then you will then have to do the math or enter the information yourself. And you can do that both on the Lose It app, the MyFitnessPal, or the Carb Manager apps. All you have to do is scan the label, enter the information, make sure all of the details are correct before saving for anyone else who is also going to be tracking. They will be using the information you saved, and also pay attention to that because a lot of times when you scan something at the store or you scan something at home, it doesn't match the nutrition label. It's probably because it was entered incorrectly. You can then go in and fix it yourself, or you can go ahead and create a correct label yourself. I hope all of this information was helpful for you and that you stick with us through the 30 days. Next week, we'll be going over intermittent fasting and how applying that to this journey will help with your weight loss.